Ballpark Beefs back at it, bringing the heat. You already know what it is. Hey, one quick thing before we run that music. Spoiler alert: Game of Thrones ending, trash. Run that music.
All right, sorry. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Game of Thrones. JK, Ballpark Beef. How we doing this week? It's another amazing week of baseball. Not so much for our teams, just bad all around, honestly, this past weekend. And then fantasy football, we have some sleepers maybe breaking out. First week of preseason in the books. That just means we're 4 Sundays away from the regular season. Let's fucking go. Boys, how was your week? And then let's get into it.
Hey man, another week to see the sun and have another podcast.
Love to hear it.
There it is. There it is. Week's good. Fellas are good. Boys are getting all geeked up for a little vacation. A little vacation for the two other guys, not me, but we'll be getting back together soon. We'll be getting back together for a pretty fun draft night coming up.
Yeah, we got draft night August 31st. So you guys, of course, will hear all about it. But first, before we get into any sports stuff, so if you guys didn't know, I am a huge Game of Thrones fan. I've rewatched it 3 times already. I've also just finished watching, House of Dragon season 2 just ended. And Jimmy finally finished Game of Thrones. Jimmy, I know you were speaking a little bit about this yesterday, but tell the fans how bad season 8 was.
So I don't know how to phrase this any more clearly, but just anything you want to have had happen in the ending did not happen. Everything that they geared you up for, everything that they positioned you for, wanting, nothing came true. And I'm gonna speak in riddles so that way we don't get any spoilers going on. But in my opinion, not one aspect of the ending was satisfying in any way.
No, and I agree. And I had so many issues with season 8. Just like everyone's character arc. Like you saw Jaime's character arc, you saw Daenerys' character arc, you saw everyone's character arc, and the vision was there. Like it could have came out so beautifully and ended so well. And it looks like they just flipped the script in season 8, and it just killed Game of Thrones. Season 6 was amazing. Battle of the Bastards, one of the best episodes ever in my opinion. And then they got to the Night King. They hyped this Night King up like he was some huge thing. And Arya Stark, ends it all. I don't care about spoilers. The show's been off for fucking 5 years now. But yeah, it's just things they did. It seemed like they rushed and they just, I don't know. I don't know if they just rushed it to get out, but it wasn't good. I'm sorry, Jimmy. I'm glad I was able to not spoil it for you for this long. But unfortunately, that's how it goes down. And now you have to watch House of Dragon, which it's ramping up. It's getting better. I think 1-2 season of House of Dragon is good. I'd give it a 8-2. It's pretty good.
Yeah. So if we're going all spoilers, then Cersei's demise was not good enough. Jon not being king was not correct.
You knew that.
Bran's whole arc of being the person who identified the Night King and then also, warned everyone about him and stuff like that, connected all the dots. That was his goal, was to do that, not become king. So he became king in the end. None of that made sense. Just horrible. Yeah, anyway. Tyrion was his arc laid kind of flat, but anyway, we're on to House of Dragon. We're starting season 1, going into that, and then we're gonna catch up on season 2 and become a Game of Thrones nerd.
Awesome. Love it. Sorry for that quick Game of Thrones nerd stuff, guys. We just want to get into that. I know there's a lot of Game of Thrones fans, so if you guys have the same feelings, let us know. But to the diamond, to the old great, baseball's back, and it's just not doing well for us. The Yankees played a series against the Angels. We did win the series, and then we played the Rangers, played all right. Yesterday, against one of the worst teams in the league, if not the worst team in the league. I think they had 1 or 2 wins in the month of July. They beat us by 10. That's not something that can happen to a team who's best in the league. Jazz Chisholm went down with a UCL injury. That's tough because he looked like he was starting to shine. I think he has a chance to be a real star in New York. And so, yeah, I mean, it doesn't look good. We have another game tonight. Actually, are we playing tonight? Yes, we are. We're
Yeah,
playing right now.
playing.
But Nestor Cortez is on the mound, and he's on and off. He sucks. Jazz is down now, so it's rough. And I know it's been rough for you guys too. I see what happened to the Mets this past weekend. I see what's happening right now to the Mets. It's just not going well for any of our teams right now.
Let's see how shitty the Mets are.
Oh, I figured you wanted to maybe join in
But
this
now, I mean, he
podcast and
rolled it
say
off to
something.
the Mets, so you could roll it off to the Cardinals after.
Just I'm gonna roll it right back to you after. Just haven't heard much coming from your side of the screen. You know what I mean? You know what I
Hey
mean?
man, I'm not a big Game of Thrones fan, so but let me hear how bad the Mets are because my team's probably worse.
It's a shame you're not a Game of Thrones fan, but it was a shame that I wasn't until just a short while ago. Anyway, the Mets, they kind of mid, kind of 4-6 in our last 10, I think. And we're competing with the Braves for the third wild card spot. Looks like the other two are pretty much running away with it, right? We got the Padres and we got the Diamondbacks just solidifying their place atop the wild card race. Francisco Lindor doing his thing, having a really good season, putting it all together. But I guess generally the Mets are struggling. We're wishy-washy right now. We're trying to find our footing. And I think that's just the story of this season. When there was never big hopes, never big expectations. Didn't expect to be competing with the Braves for the last wild card spot, that's for sure. Thought maybe they'd be a shoe-in, thought maybe the Phillies would be a shoe-in, but that's August baseball for you. And hopefully, we find a way to put a few wins together and get in that third spot.
Yeah, it's getting swept and then losing 7-1 to the Athletics right now isn't a great case for you. It's not good for your playoff calls right now. But there's still plenty of baseball left, but it just doesn't look good for any of our teams. It doesn't look good right now. I know the Yankees have 70 wins, and I sound like I'm sounding alarms, but to lose to the White Sox 12-2 is just that shouldn't happen at all. This is a team that probably didn't put up 12 runs in 1 month. You know what I mean? So it's rough.
That was a good comparison because you might actually be right. I think they actually won like 2-3 games last year. But it's in St. Louis. It's literally the same thing. 500 baseball, riding a roller coaster up and down. Take 2 out of 3 against Tampa Bay, split with Kansas City, lose the first game to Cincinnati, losing 4-1 now. I mean, Cardinals they're averaging 3-4 runs a game, but when your pitching rotation's averaging an ERA of almost 5, it's not going to win you games. Cardinals are 2.5 out of the wild card, and like me and Jimmy always talk about, the Mets are up and down, not much to expect. Even though we're 500, there's a lot of teams below us, so it's not like we're super shit. But for our expectation, it's bad. 4-6 in the last 10. It's just win 2, lose 3, win 1, lose 3. It's not fun in St. Louis, just like it's not fun in New York right now. But we still got a chance at fighting for the third spot in the wild card with the Braves, the Mets, the Giants. So hopefully, some magic fairy dust gets brought over them overnight and they win 6 in a row, 7 in a row, and now they're having other teams chase them.
Yeah, and I just want to note one more thing about the Yankees. Sorry, Nick.
Oh, don't worry, I have something to say about the Yankees when you're done.
I'll get back to the Cardinals. The Yankees have 70 wins. It's the most wins in the league, but it doesn't feel like they have 70 wins. They stack so many wins at the beginning of the year that this past 2-3 months has just felt like a complete shit show, and it doesn't seem like they're a 70-win team. Like, I still complain about them. I shouldn't be. They're 70 wins. They have technically the 5th best record in the league, but
And
it's
only
just,
half a game out of first.
yeah, it just doesn't seem like they're that team. I don't know. It seems like they have two identities right now.
It
Like,
seems like the last 2-3 years, the Yankees have been doing that. Like by June they have 50 wins, and then they're just playing 500 or worse to end the season.
yeah, and it has to do with pitching, timely hitting. It seems like when they do go down in games, they have no fight left in them. I don't know. It's Yankees baseball.
And I hate the Yankees as much as Jimmy does. Maybe Jimmy a little bit more, but this is the 1 month that I wanted the Yankees to lose because this is the month that we made our bet on Jonathan's bachelor party that the Yankees were going to win 17 and a half games in August, and we're at April 13th, April 14th, and they have 5 wins. So that looks like a clear bet win for me. Another 4 for 4 in the books. I think your mic's muted, brother. Because I don't know what you said. I can't hear you.
Jimmy's mic's muted. Quick
This guy
technical
Jimmy, always with the
difficulties.
technical difficulties, man.
He's still figuring out his new setup, man.
But hey, if the Yankees get on a hot stretch, that series to end the month in St. Louis might be a game changer.
Yeah, I mean, right now any series is a game changer. We have to win these series because if we don't start winning these series, Baltimore's going to start. Thankfully, Baltimore hasn't been as hot as they were, but if we don't start stacking wins, Baltimore is going to run away with this division. And if they do, we'll get a wild card spot, and then we'll have to probably face the final boss again, the Houston Astros, and who knows what's going to happen at that point.
So you know how like the schedule changed with every team playing each team in the league at least once?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on like that? Because like we're in the middle of August, and you and the Orioles are going at it for a division, and you guys only play once in the second half.
I mean, I think at this point they have the tiebreaker. I'm not sure actually. I would have to kind of go through.
I could
the
do
whole
some research on that, but I
Yeah.
feel like those games should come down to the end.
Yeah, but like the schedule guys can't predict that.
No, 100%. But I
They
mean,
can't predict who's going to be in the race or not.
I think 4 series against a team is not enough, in my opinion.
Hey, hey man, it's each his own. I'd rather not play the Orioles. So
I think if you sweep the Orioles to the second to last series of the year, the Orioles still have the tiebreaker.
yeah, exactly. So
So-
that's the thing. Like if they stack wins and we come down to that series, they are taking the AL East regardless. So it doesn't really matter. Jimmy's still having technical difficulties on his end. Trying to
Can
get
you hear
things to. We can hear him. He's back.
Oh,
Jimmy,
you get him
Jimmy's back.
now.
Jimmy's back.
What's that?
Bad.
What's that over under on April or August looking like?
I was just gonna say I didn't do anything, and I don't know what happened to this connection. But I was saying before I got rudely interrupted by the computer beast. I don't have it written down.
Damn, bro, we weren't even drunk when we were making the bets. I'm pretty sure it was 17.5 though.
So the bet's essentially void.
Yeah, we could void the bet. You got lucky with that one. I mean, you already owe me like 6 anyway.
The bet has been voided. Jimmy, can I ask you a quick question about the Mets?
Yeah, go ahead, shoot, bro.
So this sweep from the Mariners, was it more on the offense or the pitching?
The Mariners. Let's see.
So you put up 1 run in 3 games.
Yeah, actually,
They also gave up 22.
And you gave
I
up
actually think
22.
that the Mets took off. The Mets took off a couple games.
So it was both.
Yeah, the Mets in general. I think everybody was just snoozing a little bit. I don't know, it's a tough road trip when you go out west and you have 10 games in a row, no off days, and then you go to St. Louis and then back out to the west. Like it's weird. So they're probably spent at the end of it.
How big do you think that St. Louis game put a factor in this trip?
Enough to matter. Probably enough to matter. That off day would have been nice. Maybe keep the juice for the end of the road trip, but I don't know. Hopefully yesterday's off day served them well, but apparently not because we're getting smoked by the Oakland Athletics, who have literally one good hitter, who wasn't traded, by the way.
Brent Rooker.
And he's 2 for 3.
No surprise. The one guy you're not supposed to pitch to, but you still give up 7 runs to everyone else.
Yeah.
Baseball's a beautiful sport. 500 is like pretty darn good for this sport. And then if you go like 10 games over, you're in the playoffs. It's pretty much how it goes.
You can go 3 for 10 and still be a good baseball player.
Good baseball player. You'd be in the Hall of Fame at 3 for 10.
That's what I'm saying. It's very.
But I was just gonna say the margins are so slim. You could be 2 for 10 and be off a team.
That's true. You can.
Isn't that crazy?
Now you can,
That
yeah.
is crazy. I hate people who say like, "Oh, this sport's the hardest sport." My opinion, baseball is the hardest sport. I don't care how physically gifted you are. I don't think anyone, like, let's say a football player can't just come into baseball and hit a 90-mile-an-hour fastball.
And 90 slow.
A baseball player, not saying they're going to do it very well, they can go into a basketball game and maybe put up 5 points if they're athletic enough, right? Not saying a professional one.
I
Just
mean,
saying,
shit.
like,
You take an outfielder from the MLB and put him at wide receiver. I promise you, he's not going 0 for 10 on catching the ball.
he'll be like a slot receiver, like,
Yeah.
So baseball is the hardest sport, and there's very, very minimal room for error. In terms of hitting, in terms of pitching. If you place a pitch in the wrong spot, it's going 450. Like, you're fucked.
Yeah, and a lot of people are like, "Oh, how do so many people get injured in baseball? All they do is just stand around and wait for the ball to go to them. You're
Well, that's
moving
the
every
reason.
play." And
Well, no, that's the
yeah,
reason. When it's you're at a full stop and then you
yeah,
speed up, that's where people get injured. Football players, basketball players, they're constantly moving. Their injuries are either, concussions or they go up and land wrong, or they cutting and twist an ankle, or you make one wrong step and you pop an Achilles. I mean, that's that kind of injuries. Baseball, you're going from cold to hot in a matter of seconds. That's how people pull hamstrings, like John Carlos Stanton. He's what, 6'6", and
Averages
you
one a
hit
year.
you hit the ball and you're trying to run as fast as you can and you pull your hamstring. It's cold to hot stops. So that's why baseball players get hurt. And people say, "Oh, how do baseball players get hurt? They don't do anything." Fucking you go play baseball. Go try it out.
yeah.
Mm.
I mean, try and run 90 feet in 4 seconds like Ellie De La Cruz.
Try to hit a 90-mile-an-hour curveball or slider. You got no chance.
No
No
chance
chop.
at a 90-mile-an-hour curveball. Who would tell you?
A slider. I meant to say slider. Imagine a 90-mile-an-hour curveball.
One day.
That would be insane.
One day. I
They'll
bet you
they'll
one
figure
day.
out how to throw that one day. They will figure it
I
out.
mean, even this year, two pitchers topped 105 fastball. You got what, 0.6 seconds, 0.06 seconds or whatever it is, 0.6 of a second. Sorry, 0.6 of a second to react to that. I mean, a lot of these players don't have the hand-eye coordination like baseball players do.
All right, so I got a little segment here. We're gonna roll into some fantasy football. So Nick is probably gonna be completely shot on this. We're gonna go over some boom and bust guys. Jimmy, I'm sure
I mean, I could put my opinion out.
I'm sure you could come off with some guys off the top of your head, right? All right, so we'll start off. So boom or bust, if you guys don't know. Boom is guys who have the potential to be great this year. Bust are guys.
Are you mansplaining boom or bust?
Yeah, because I don't know. Some people may not know. I don't know.
Bro, we're a sports podcast. If people don't know what boom or bust is, turn the shit off.
Okay. And we're not going to explain where boom or bust is. If you don't know, turn us the fuck off, okay? So,
Oh, boys.
I want to do a boom or bust for quarterback, wide receiver, and running back. One each, boom or bust. Okay? Everyone good? Everyone all right? I know that might take a lot of brain power right now, but I know it's off the rip. But you guys good?
Yes.
Okay, Nick, who is your boom quarterback in fantasy football this year?
My boom quarterback
Your boom
is
quarterback.
100% CJ Stroud. I think he had one of the best rookie years, and with him getting Diggs, is going to make him top 3 quarterback in fantasy football this year.
Top
Next
3.
means.
Top 3, nothing less.
Okay. All right.
Can you ask me what my bust quarterback is?
No, we're doing boom first, and then we'll do bust.
You're ruining my bit.
Okay, fine. Do your bit.
CJ Stroud is my bust quarterback.
Why? Explain.
CJ Stroud, literally, okay, this is my justification. You are drafting him as what? Probably quarterback 4 or 5 right now,
Which is insane.
going on ADP. That's his ceiling. He doesn't move in the pocket. In order to be good in fantasy, you need to be mobile. You need to be able to rush for a couple hundred yards, couple scores. You need to be able to throw for the 4,000 yards and the 35 touchdowns. CJ Stroud's ceiling is quarterback 4. You're drafting him at his ceiling, so you're likely going to be very disappointed with your CJ Stroud output because you have to draft him so high this year. Do I think he's a fantastic quarterback and does he have the potential to be great? Yes, but I think drafting him as high as he's going, he's definitely going to be a bust candidate this year for me.
Okay, since you went over your bust, who's your boom?
My boom quarterback?
Yeah.
I'm going to do a sleeper boom.
Okay.
I think my sleeper boom quarterback, for the exact reasons I just said, is Jaden Daniels.
Okay. I mean, that's fair.
I think Jaden Daniels, if he's healthy for 17 games and he rushes like he can, and he throws the ball to some good playmakers that are on the Commanders' offense. Terry McLaurin, distributes to him, and primarily because he's their best wide receiver. I think Jaden Daniels has a chance to be, based on where you're drafting him, right? Like he's, I don't know, quarterback 13, 14 range, 10 in that range. He could be quarterback 5 because of his rushing upside.
I agree. I'll just do boom or bust since Jimmy went off, and then Nick, you can end off a bust. But my boom quarterback. So the rankings are kind of weird. Like they have CJ Stroud 5. He doesn't have really rushing upside. I'm gonna piggyback off Jimmy because for a quarterback to be a boom prospect, they need to be someone a little underrated, someone who hasn't popped off completely yet. I think this year my boom fantasy guy is going to be Jordan Love. I think Jordan Love's going to have a fantastic year. I think with the weapons they have, a year more of experience, I think Jordan Love is going to finish top 5 in quarterbacks. I really do. I think Jordan Love's going to have a great season. He's one of the quarterbacks on top of my board. I would take him over Anthony Richardson, CJ Stroud. I would take him over Patrick Mahomes. Honestly, I would. I think he has that potential. Now, my bust quarterback is Anthony Richardson. I don't know how he's QB6. Listen, I get it. He looked good, decent, above average before he got hurt. He was rushing for touchdowns. Wasn't much throwing involved, but he's my bust quarterback. I don't think he's going to have that great of a year. I think it's going to be average, maybe finish top 15, top 20. I just don't think he's that good of a quarterback to be ranked 6th ADP.
Yeah, I was going between Anthony Richardson and Josh Allen, mainly because Josh Allen's ceiling is so high, and it doesn't look like he's going to have many, superstar weapons there in Buffalo. Yes, he gets it done in the feet, but I'm personally going with Anthony Richardson, but I would say Josh Allen is a close second.
So
I like that.
if you
take.
if you were to say Josh Allen, since he's right now projected QB1 off the board, how far do you think he's going to drop if he's your second bust candidate?
Maybe 5 through 10.
I mean, that's not a huge. Yeah, okay.
I think his floor is quarterback.
I mean,
5.
my thing is Josh Allen has been basically the best quarterback in fantasy for the last 4 years. I think him going there and then, maybe fall into like a 8, 9, 10, I think that's a big drop, especially for a quarterback projected, late second round.
100%. I agree. I think you could also make the case Jalen Hurts can be a bust candidate this year. I don't think that team with that coach, I've heard some things that him and the coach are on the same page. They haven't been. I know he's got great rushing upside. Better, the tush push is unbeatable. That's where he gets most of his fantasy points from. But I think you can make the same argument for him. I think the most bulletproof quarterback is obviously Patrick Mahomes.
I have a question since you mentioned the tush push. With Kelsey retiring and them getting Saquon, do you think they try and go away with it and not use it as often?
No.
Yes.
I think Kelsey was a big part of that tush push.
I think it works too well.
It does work well, but here's the problem. The Eagles at the goal line weren't able to punch it in from within the 5 with their running backs. Swift, I think, who else was back there? I think there was another guy who split time. But now with Saquon, I think from the 5, he gets in 6, 7 more times to score touchdowns and taking those touchdowns away from tush push.
Okay. So maybe Hurts will drop in QB this year. Maybe he'll be like a QB6, B5.
Yeah. No, it's possible. I think actually I was going to say Jordan Love was my second bust candidate.
Okay.
I think that he too is being drafted at his ceiling. I think you might be disappointed with his, regression to the mean. I'm not saying that they're bad quarterbacks. I'm saying that you might, be expecting a QB 5, 6 range, but you get a QB 10 range, just like Josh Allen from 1 to 5. You a little disappointed there. That's all.
Okay. All right. Running backs. Here we go. Boom and bust. I will let Jimmy go first.
Boom. All right. Who are we booming at the running back position? Running back's tough this year, right? Like I feel every year you kind of get in this top heavy running back class where, you can paint the picture for the 3 top guys without a problem. So I'm probably going to take a low hanging fruit here and pick one of those. But then, you get into the middle rounds where it's kind of like challenging to predict running backs, and then you take some swings later. Depends on your running back strategy, but all that, delaying to say, I really think that Breece Hall from the Jets is going to have a fantastic year. I think he is primed to be a breakout candidate if he's not already a breakout, broken out. He's QB proof. He catches the ball. He's the workhorse back. Clearly, if Aaron Rodgers is a shell of himself, Breece Hall is going to have a fantastic season.
Yeah, I mean, I have Breece Hall over Bijan Robinson, and I'm not afraid to take Breece Hall over any tier 2 wide receiver. Like I will take Breece Hall over Puka Nacua. I will take Breece Hall over AJ Brown. I think so it's not even only his rushing ability. His catching, receiving ability, I think, is one of the best out of running backs. I mean, he was RB2 last year, so he's already reached that. I think he has the potential to match up with CMC for RB1 this year, especially with Rodgers. I really like Breece Hall. That is my boom guy as well. I think he's going to pop off this year. I think he can go for 2,000 all-purpose yards this year, honestly.
See it? I see the path. Nick, are you giving a boom, or what are we doing? I got a bust as well.
Yeah.
All right,
You could do your bust. I want to do them both because I'm trying to determine between like 4 people for busting. Pause.
Oh, I just disconnected. I think I'm back.
You're
Yes,
back.
you're good. Let's hear your bust.
Who is busting? I think you could put all these people in a hat and just kind of say any one of these people are going to bust. But like essentially anybody who's being drafted in rounds like 4 to 8 of the draft are going to be bust candidates in my opinion. The biggest one, I think I'm going to go with what's his name from Green Bay now?
Aaron
From
Jones. I don't know.
Josh Jacobs.
no, Josh Jacobs. I think he's
Josh
going to be a
Jacobs.
bust. I don't see him.
Traded him.
Yeah, I don't see him doing well there. I don't really know why I'm saying that, but I think like maybe there's some injury history, maybe there's some negatives for him that are just not coming to mind right now. But I think the Green Bay running back situation is going to be rough. I don't know. I think Green Bay had firework in a bottle kind of season last year. I'm hoping one of the wide receivers comes through for me, but beyond that in the offense, I'm not really picking from them.
So bust for me is hard. I want to say Jonathan Taylor because he's been hurt. I know the past few years. When he plays, he's really good. So I'm not going to pick Jonathan Taylor, but honestly, can't pick Saquon because I think he's in a better offense. He has a better offensive line. I think it's a better run scheme. Bust is hard for running backs because I feel like any running back can be boom or bust. I don't think any running back is boom or bust proof. But if I had to put someone here, someone in maybe the top 10, and I'm gonna go with Kyron Williams. I think he has bust potential. I think he had one great year last year. They drafted Blake Corum. Who knows how that situation is going to work out? So I'm going to say Kyron. I don't think Kyron's going to be as good as he was last year.
Do you want to go with your boom?
I already said it, Breece Hall.
Oh yeah. So my bust is Kenneth Walker. I think him and Charbonnet share the backfield too much, and I think the more they give Charbonnet touches, he's going to easily take over that spot. And I mean, Kenneth Walker, I thought coming into fantasy 2 years ago was, like a top 10, and he hasn't shown anything except being in the top 20. I think this year he stays the same, goes a little worse, and Charbonnet gets a lot more touches. My boom, and I'm going down into the later rounds. I think it's going to be Chase Brown. I don't think the Bengals are a huge fan of Zach Moss.
You're just endorsing it because he's on your team.
I mean, there's so many.
I think this is a good take. Finish your thought.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think the Cincinnati offense, with Burrow being healthy and everything, they're going to need a running back. And Zach Moss really hasn't shown RB1 potential. And I think Chase Brown, showed enough where he's now considered their RB2, and I think he's going to take over the spot within the first 5 weeks.
So
I like it. I like Chase Brown. I like Chase Brown this year.
I like Chase Brown too. As far as the Kenneth Walker take, I personally think Kenneth Walker is going to have a great year. They have already come out and say a lot. They said the offense is going to be ran more around Kenneth Walker. I think he's going to have a great year. I think Kenneth Walker is a great running back. I just
I'm
think
not
he
saying
hasn't
he's
been able to
terrible.
do
I
it.
just think he hasn't shown how great people are saying he is.
No,
And
and
yeah,
I agree,
No.
but I wouldn't say he's a bust. He's going to be bust. I think he's actually going to go past his draft value this year. I'm very high on him.
might be a sleeper bust. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. My other boom, and you guys are going to laugh at this one too. I think Zeke going back to Dallas he's going to have a sleeper year.
See, okay, I like your thought process because what you're doing is you're picking one of running back rooms that are a little bit up in the air right now. You know, you could see some potential for these guys to take over. I don't agree with your Kenneth Walker take, but I do agree with your other two takes. Those are interesting later round running backs, and that's exactly I think the strategy this year. Keep talking about it. Like I think running backs later is the move. I don't think you should spend too much draft capital up at the top of the draft, especially like past round 4 on them until like round 8 because in my opinion you avoid the ones that typically don't hit. Kenneth Walker, I don't think Zach Charbonnet actually had a good season last year. I think he had very few or very small yards per route, yards per run or whatever it is, YPA, yards
Yeah,
per
he
attempt.
averaged
I think it was very low.
almost 4.5
Yards per attempt.
yards per carry.
That's interesting. I don't remember it being that way, but I have to look up the stats. Clearly, I
So
don't
he averaged about 4.25 with 108.
carries.
Yeah,
Yeah, so they
and he
did.
caught
That's
and he
the
caught the
reason
ball
why.
33 times.
That's why Kenneth Walker isn't, higher up the boards is because he's playing like 65 or 70% of the snaps. If he was closer to 80, 85, we'd have a different story here because I think Kenneth Walker is better than Zach Charbonnet.
Yeah, I agree. I like Kenneth Walker a lot. And I think it's kind of crazy that there's some of these guys are ahead of him, but we're going to see how the draft turns out. I also think Zamir White's a breakout candidate. I like Zamir White a lot. He's getting a starting role now. And if you look at his last 4 games last year, they were very good. I think he's got potential. So we'll see. Some guys out there. But let's head over to the wide receivers, boom or bust. I think this one's going to be an interesting one. I like talking wide receivers. So does Jimmy. Jimmy loves his wide receivers. If you guys didn't know, Jimmy is the wide receiver guru. So Jimmy, you started last time. I'll start this time. My boom receiver, and I have been going back and forth with this guy. I told Jimmy I don't like him. I don't want to draft him, and then I think, oh, he has a better quarterback now. Oh, maybe he'll finally show his potential. Finally, we've all been waiting for it. I think Drake London is going to have a really good year this year.
You're such a freaking hypocrite.
I think he's finally going to get over that 1,000-yard hump. He has in my opinion, I think Kirk Cousins is a Hall of Famer. Hot take, maybe not. But I think Kirk Cousins is a very good quarterback. To some people may think completely different. I think he's very good, and he throws the ball a lot. I think Drake London is going to finally reach 1,000 yards, and I think he's going to be a top 10 receiver this year. Take that. My bust wide receiver. Now, this is tough because there's a lot of guys that can be bust candidates for wide receiver because wide receiver rooms get crowded and yada yada yada. I think Cooper Kupp's going to be a complete bust this year. I think he's on the tail end of his career. I just don't like Cooper Kupp anymore. I really don't. I think they got some young guys in there. Puka. There's this kid Jordan Whittington who's been balling out. I know he's only wide receiver 3, but watch out. I just picked him up on waivers. I'm gonna have the the next thing. So I think Cooper Kupp's a bust candidate at his ADP.
Yeah, all these are coming with the caveat at their ADP. So my turn, Nick, or do you want to go? Nope. You're on mute, Pop.
You're on mute, Pop. Jimmy, go. He's not prepared.
Oh, my bad. I think my mute. I mean, I said my mute. My boom is Garrett Wilson. I
That's
think with
cool.
a healthy Aaron Rodgers, Garrett Wilson is a lock at top 5 wide receiver. You know, the Jets had who they have? What was his name?
Hold on. You said a lock at top 5.
Yeah, I think he's a
So
lock at top 5 receiver.
So out of the top 5 guys right now on this list here, CeeDee Lamb,
Sorry,
Tyreek Hill,
6.
Justin
Sorry,
Jefferson.
6.
Okay.
I put him over AJ. But having Zach Wilson the last 2 years and finishing at 25 isn't terrible. And I think with the veteran Rodgers, he's gonna have one of the best years of his career. Now, going on to a boom at his ADP, I think Mike Evans is going to be a boom. I
Bust?
think, I mean, a bust. Sorry, I just have
We
to use
need
the
to teach
bathroom.
him.
I have to use the bathroom really bad.
Oh,
No, it's okay. I think Mike Evans is the biggest boom. You know, he's been one of the most consistent wide receivers throughout his career. But, you know, he's getting older each year. And I think this year they're going to try and use Chris Godwin more in the slot. And Mike Evans is going to be more of a deep ball. And if he doesn't catch them, then he's not going to get a lot of passes.
He's been a deep ball his whole career.
Yeah, but he's getting older. He ain't going to be able to jump up that high anymore. I'm just giving my opinion, brother.
He's put up 1,000 yards for like 10 years now.
Okay, and I'm saying he's going to have a boom year.
A bust year.
Bust.
on purpose now. All right.
Gotta make
so
him laugh somehow.
I got two people, right? So I got bust candidate. We'll start with the bust candidate. I hate to say this because I just think it's true, but I have an insurance policy for my dynasty team, so I'm all set there. Nick, you might as well go to the bathroom, so I'm gonna be talking for a while. So Keenan Allen is my bust candidate. A little down on him at the moment. I think him being in that offense, he's probably lost a step. Probably a little older. He's probably not gonna be able to, command the target share that he once did. I think there's some, and there's an alpha in that offense already, DJ Moore. There's a young up and coming stud in Rome Odunze, who I think is actually going to be the second best receiving prospect in this draft. And this is a really hot take. But I think Odunze is going to come into his own. And I think by the time Keenan Allen, I'm ready to give up on Keenan Allen, I think Odunze will have risen and I won't have a problem filling that slot in my dynasty lineup. So that's good. But, I have the insurance policy. You always need some insurance with a dynasty team. Never know. Injuries happen. DJ Moore could get hurt and then it could be all Keenan Allen for that offense. You never know. So yeah, my bust is Keenan Allen with an honorable mention, Marvin Harrison Jr.
Wow.
Not a lot of things coming out of that camp about Marvin Harrison. A lot of people are saying that the neighbors hype is real. Like I think Odunze's hype is real. Like I think that's obviously those three at the top. But I think Marv, a little honorable mention for a bust candidate. There's a lot of pressure on him.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Who did you say your bust was?
Keenan Allen.
Keenan, but Marvin Harrison was an honorable mention bust candidate.
Did you say your boom yet or no?
No.
So
Okay.
in every draft, I'm taking Malik Neighbors over Marvin Harrison Jr. I don't care who his quarterback is. I think the target share is going to be there. I think Neighbors is going to get targeted purposely. I think just the rave coming out of camp. Neighbors sounds like he's JJ 2.0, like not saying I'm not trying to compare people because you never like to compare players, but I think Neighbors is going to be a very good wide receiver. I think he has a chance to be better than maybe one of his other LSU running mates. We'll see. But
Never know. I'd be happy if that was the case.
Yeah.
So I think Neighbors Odunze maybe over Marvin Harrison Jr. in the long run. I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to see how it all plays out.
In the long run, possibly. Short term, I'm still taking Marv over Odunze.
Definitely a hot take, but just figured I'd sprinkle it in there. My boom candidate, and I think this is a pretty easy one to pick. Really the whole offense, but specifically T. Higgins is going to boom this year. I think you can write him in as like a low end wide receiver one. I think he's going to be that good. I think Joe Burrow's healthy. I think their backfield has two pretty good running backs to split the time and rush the ball. I think Jamar Chase is going to have a fantastic season. I think Burrow's going to go for probably close to 5 and 40 in my opinion. 5,000 yards, 40 touchdowns. I think that's completely in the range of outcomes. I think T. Higgins is going to benefit the most. It's a contract year, trying to get paid. He's trying to be the alpha in another offense, I think. I don't think it's going to be with the Bengals, but T. Higgins and really a lot of the other wide receiver twos, Waddle, Devontae, I think you could paint the same kind of story for them. I think they're due for an explosion in their offenses.
So my only thing with T. Higgins, and I like him, he just can't stay like fully healthy every year. That's my issue with some of these wide receivers. Like T. Higgins, he's last year he didn't play the full year, but when he does play, he looks amazing. Like he looks like a wide receiver one. But it's availability, man. That's what sucks when I do these redrafts, because I want to take some guys, but their availability just kills me. It kills me. Like you can't take Cooper Kupp this high. Who knows how often he's gonna be hurt this year? Like he's ranked, I think, wide receiver, let's say 15, something like that. That's like second or third round value, and who knows if he plays the full year. That's the tough part. Honestly, same with Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase has been hurt a lot. You know, the guys who aren't hurt a lot: CeeDee Lamb, Tyreek Hill, Amon-Ra St. Brown. As you know, he played with a torn oblique, so dude might have a torn hamstring and will still play. So, I mean, you got to trust the guys who stayed healthy. That's how I look at it too. I always look at health. I look at past years. That's a lot goes into what I do in my redraft as well.
I was very surprised that none of you guys mentioned Chris Olave.
I don't like Chris Olave.
No, I'm saying like not as a boom, but like as a boom or bust. Because I know you guys talk about a lot that you don't like him, and he doesn't score that much, but he still finished top 16 last year, even with the quarterback situation.
Yeah,
and his ADP's top 10 wide receiver.
Yeah. No, I mean that's a pretty good point, Nick. I just feel like Olave, he hasn't shown me the top 5 finish range yet, so I'm not, prepared to say that him being a wide receiver 15 is like a bust potentially. I think there's bigger busts in the ADP. Like for instance, the Bears, like a rookie wide receivers or rookie quarterback has never supported 3,000-yard wide receivers. I don't even think there's really many 1,000-yard receivers, wide receiver ones in rookie quarterback rooms, right? Like that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense, but somebody's ADP, one of those 4 guys, Odunze, Keenan, DJ Moore, or Caleb Williams, one of those 4 guys is not going to be up that high, like with their finish. Maybe 2.
I think DJ Moore is obviously the best wide receiver there. My only issue is, he had a great year last year, but there's so many more targets there now. I still think he's going to have a good year. I just don't think it'll be like last year. I mean, he was wide receiver 6 last year. That's really good. Maybe just outside of the 10, but I still think he's a solid receiver. I would take him in the second round over some of these other guys. Like Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
Love the guy, but he's got Aiden O'Connell or Gardner Minshew,
Yeah,
definitely
I agree.
Tay.
I mean, what do you guys... No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I definitely wouldn't take Tay, but like to your point about injuries, I think what I've learned through a couple years of redrafts and taking it seriously is that even if you draft like a fantastic team, it doesn't matter. Like it's all about luck. It's all about luck at the end, and like all you have to do is get to the playoffs, and you might have a chance. You could have the best team and go 8-6. You could have the worst team go 8-6 and make the playoffs somehow and win every week. Like it doesn't matter at all. And like for me, I'm taking swings this year. I'm swinging aggressively. People with the upside potential, the people I can make the case for, they can finish top 5 of their position, or else I'm just not drafting them.
Listen,
I feel like
I know. Go ahead.
I feel like no one takes swings like I do, though.
I think I can agree with that. What about you, Jimmy? You can agree with that?
I take swings.
Yeah, I mean, give me an example.
Like, I think George Pickens is going to be good this year.
I do too.
I think he's going to be really good this year.
I think George Pickens is up there.
I feel like what Jonathan is like when he thinks of a player being good, they actually turn out being good. Like it's literally just a 50-50.
I'm telling you, bro, the past 2 years, Amon-Ra St. Brown, I was like, he's going to be good. I picked him off waivers. He was great. And then I made a terrible trade I will never talk about. The year after that, I said, Puka, he's going to be good. What happened?
Puka was a 6th rounder. Stop it.
I'm telling you. And I said Tank Dell too last year. I know this shit, guys. Okay. And my sleeper this year, you want to hear it? It's Javon Baker from the Patriots, from Colorado State, I think. He's going to be a dog. Javon Baker, remember that name when he starts popping off. You're like, oh, Jonathan said that. And then Jordan Whittington, who was shadowed by better talent on the Rams. 2 guys, keep an eye out. If they turn out to be good, you both hold me 4 for 4s.
All right.
But getting
Let's
back to the point that Jimmy was talking about with it being luck, I remember last year I had the third highest points in average per year, and I think Jimmy had the highest, and he was one game better than me in record. It all comes down to which players shine and which ones can stay healthy the longest.
Or just be good. Like win back-to-back years and then go on to win a third year in a row.
I can't wait for you to finish dead last.
I can't
Never.
wait. I can't wait for it.
I can't wait, bro. You're not going to hear the end of it until August 31st of 2025.
But the thing is, if I finish last, one of you better win. I better not go first to worst.
I don't even care about winning. I just want you to be in last.
I'm not going to be in last. You know this. I'm not.
Anyway, we'll have to find out.
We will find out. All right. The draft is 3 weeks away. It is on the 31st of August. And that next episode, we will be sharing with you guys the breakdown, essentially, how we went. And there'll be plenty more research to go for the rest of these few weeks. I know me and Jimmy especially. Nick, I think, is just going to show up and wing it. But, guys, we'll catch you next week. Right? Next week or no?
No,
we are off. We will be off next week, and we'll be back the week after that.
I believe so.
We'll be back the week after that. So you'll get a break from Ballpark Beef. Next Tuesday, we will be off. We will not be dropping an episode on Wednesday. So catch up on all the previous stuff, and we'll be back in 2 weeks. Thank you for listening. Peace to fuck out. All right.